And I'm now joined by the very latest MLA to become a member of the Assembly, Sinn Féin's Máirtín Ó Muilleoir. Evening to you.
Evening, Mark.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Nice
First
to be
impressions, how does Stormont compare to Belfast City Hall?
It's a more placid environment in the debates, very robust chairing of the debates in the Assembly. Insults are out. Mockery and abuse is generally out. In City Hall we get away with a little bit of that, so I'm going to have to clip my wings.
Is it too robust up here? Some people say it's a little bit overly sanitised, perhaps. Should we not have a bit more rough and tumble?
Well, I don't want to say that it's not stimulating or exciting, but I was in for 3 hours today for the education bill debate, and it was very temperate, mild-mannered. But I think that's fair enough. It's an institution which is putting the emphasis on the contribution rather than the ability to interrupt the speaker.
Yeah, but there are some big characters in there. Sometimes there's too much heat and not enough light. You want a balance. Everybody accepts that, but at the same time, you do want members of the public watching it do want some real sense of engagement and people being challenged in that debate. Otherwise, it's not worth paying attention to.
Well, I think you have to sit through a long debate to get those moments of those sparky moments, if you wish. That said, I think what people really want is they want engagement between the different sides of the chamber. They want what happened today, where we have the education bill passed. I'm not saying it's a coincidence that I arrived 2 days later, they passed an education bill and compromise breaks out. But I do think if we want to get those moments of engagement and getting things done, then there will have to be more than just arguments.
You had a very high-profile year as Lord Mayor last year. Are you going to have to just bide your time, tread a bit of water now, as you find your feet as a backbench MLA?
Well, I'm here to listen and to learn, and I've been doing that over the last 48 hours. One of the things I've learned is it's a long day. I was here at 8 o'clock this morning, and we won't be home until 9 o'clock tonight. But I think the lessons from City Hall and the lessons that I learned as a Lord Mayor can be applied here. That is, my politics are about addition and multiplication, not about subtraction and division. My politics are about trying to bring people together, common ground, jobs and investment. And really it's the same job here as it was in City Hall, but a different modus operandi.
OK, you were co-opted into the Assembly, but in a slightly unusual manner. Was it not a little bit cynical to move Alex Maskey to West Belfast and then stick you in South Belfast in his place?
I thought it was ingenious and agile and showed a certain depth.
Was it entirely democratic? Was it really within the spirit of actually replacing members?
Well, I hope so. I hope so, because we wouldn't want to play fast and loose with those rules. But I suppose my job now is to represent the south of the city. I haven't heard that objection from punters, from people on the street, but I suppose what they really want is, because not a lot of people said to me, you're so lucky going up to the Assembly. What we really want is we want people to say, well, you're doing a good job up there, and can you do more of that? Can you move the Assembly, move more people to the bright side of the road rather than lingering, I suppose, in the paralysis which has been here.
See, I think you've confused people now, Máirtín Ó Muilleoir. You told the Belfast Telegraph in an interview you did in the summer you'd no plans to run for Westminster or Stormont. You're in Stormont, you're running for Westminster, you're the Sinn Féin candidate in South Belfast. How come you changed your mind?
I always say never believe anything you read in the papers.
Well, that's the thing.
And plans can change very quickly. So I'm glad to be here, and I wasn't entirely sure at that time what we would do. But, you know, an Assembly move is an exciting move. The potential of this place, and I think the potential was seen today in the education debate and the education bill, the potential of this place is enormous, and I hope to exploit that in the time ahead.
And if you told me now that you had no designs on being Deputy First Minister, I wouldn't believe you.
Well, you should always be very cautious about anything a politician tells you, but I have no designs on doing any job other than being a backbencher at Stormont at the time ahead. Hopefully not all the debates will be 3 hours long.
Yeah, well, when you're appointed a minister, I'll remind you of what you've just said. OK, Máirtín Ó Muilleoir, thanks very much for joining us.